Got a good pick for him in that last draft. Oh, sorry, in the first draft of the day. Now they have the opportunity to try and pick up something decent as well. The likes of Little Blanc has been hotly contested going into that second ban phase. Might be able to sneak that one through.
Braum taken off the board here as well. Braum has been an instrumental pick, not just in this series, but incredibly strong in the meta right now. So not too surprising to see that taken off the board because it can block a lot of the plays that EDG will be trying to make.
Also means that you're opening up yourself for the likes of the Misfortune, these kind of picks that can work quite well. Actually surprised to see EDG banning away the Senna, not wanting to give that one across the Photic. Didn't feel like it was very instrumental in the victory the top esports got, but healing up around these objectives, allowing that poke to not stick around for too long on the health bars, did help out quite a bit. Now we're looking at the last ban coming in for top esports is going to be that Misfortune, which I imagine means it's going to be, well, I was going to say either the Affilios picked up, but the Elise prioritized for JJ.
And it's going to be Karsa on the Lee Sin. Well, it could be. We'll see what they're going to lock in here. But interesting that Misfortune and Senna are both banned away. It means we're going to go a little bit deeper into these AD carry pools. Things like the Aphelios still available, but also things like the Varus, things like Xayah, maybe even a little bit of Kai'Sa. We've seen it a tiny bit. We'll have to wait and see where these guys want to go with this one, but I'm curious to see the direction they'll fall.
Well, they went with the Varus. It looks like people have been looking at that Aphelios win rate and thinking, I don't really want to have him on my team anymore. Varus, I love this pick. I feel like it gives you so many options. You've got the utility there with the Chains of Corruption. Great wave clear provided by both the Piercing Arrow and also the Hail of Arrows. So this is really where I want to see them pick things.
Look at Karsa's face when the Lee Sin is locked in there. Beaming smile. I mean, Karsa seems like the kind of guy that he's got an easy smile, you know. He's happy to be happy. But the Lee Sin pick, you can see he's gleeful over. And I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do with that as we get to the Rift. But Nautilus will be the answer from the side of EDG.
This is where I want to see what EDG prioritize. Are they looking to get something like, I was going to say, a good bottom laner for themselves? It will be the Aphelios that's picked up. Or are they trying to prioritize something for a scout? Now onto the opposite side, I think this is where you lock in. I was going to go with the Leona. I think would have been a really strong pick to pair with the Varus. A lot of CC, great setup for Karsa on this Lee Sin to try and make the plays happen. But it looks like with the Aphelios and the Nautilus locked in, they want to go for a little bit more of a passive lane in the bottom lane and keeping Photic safe.
Yeah, and I mean, Varus, Tahm Kench are relatively standard as a duo. Can keep the Varus very, very safe. And when you're running a carry like Varus that does want to just be dishing out the auto attacks during these fights, it's great to have the Tahm Kench just there to protect him no matter what. He is very immobile.
This does mean that for top esports, they can tend to play a little bit more of an aggressive lane. We saw, I mean, even on your screens in that the break that we had, Crying playing very well on the Rise. That could be something that they try to go for Knight here, where you can have this Rise play very aggressive forward, using the shields that are built into the passive, the likes of the Seraph's Embrace to keep himself nice and healthy. And if the bad news comes to bear, well, they got the Tahm Kench to take him out of any sort of danger.
Well, as we head towards the final ban here, it's going to be all about the top lane as the Gangplank is taken off of the board. The Rumble removed from the mid lane. Rumble not been seen at all in this series. It's been second rotation ban every single time.
With the Gangplank taken away, that screams to me top esports want to get 369 back in this Mordekaiser. The obvious answer is going to be, well, was going to be the Gangplank because you got the remove Scurvy. EDG read that though, not wanting the Mordekaiser to go across. And with the Braum gone, with everything else that can be a nuisance for the Ornn, it will be 369 picking that one up.
We could see Set here. Set really good against these tanks. Ornn has been locked in. Could be the counter, but it's down to whether or not EDG are prepared to bring out that new pick.
Jinnu is someone who does like to pick up some of these more aggressive top laners. I wouldn't be surprised if he had in his champion pool, but may not be what EDG want to play with. Instead, they are going to lock in that Pantheon. This is actually more likely going towards Scout in the mid lane. This is something he loves, and what they do is get JJ to play around it. You've got the Elise, easy setup with the Pantheon because it's point and click CC, and then have these Skyfalls all over the map to start picking up kills and making the map so dangerous for anyone on top esports to enter.
Now EDG going to round their composition out with this Vladimir. And they were hovering a few different picks. I like the Vladimir in the end. A bit of AP damage here, because otherwise you'd be looking at all physical across the board. Now all that remains is what Knight will lock in to take to this mid lane.
I do like them going with the Orianna here again. When you look towards Chains of Corruption, the Call of the Forge God, great team fight utility there. So why not have this big AoE ultimate that can do the work for you? Also, looking across what EDG have gone for here, they are looking to kind of go for a win lane, win game, and have Vladimir as the backup insurance for team fights. But if Scout doesn't get out onto the map roaming early, they're not really going to have the team fight prowess that they would hope for, and that will allow top esports to go for a heavy team fight orientated style.
We've got a Victor locked in though for Knight. Kind of similar to the Orianna in that it's that control mage. You've got a lot of wave clear, you can do a lot of damage from range, but a bit of a different style and a lot of upfront burst damage in the later stages of the game.
The big problem that I'm seeing though is trying to survive that laning phase. You are Victor, you are not very good at avoiding ganks, and when you've got a Pantheon with, as we said, point and click CC and Elise waiting to flash cocoon you from a bush, that cleanse will help you survive once but not multiple times, and this is where Scout again has been set up to be the big carry for EDG.
We've got a really strong mid-jungle duo coming out here from EDG. The question is, will that carry them to the late game when Aphelios and Vladimir can come into their own? Top Esports is certainly going to be looking to shut that down as Karsa has his signature pick in the Lee Sin. We'll see what he's going to be able to do with the Blind Monk as we head onto the Rift.
It is going to be very tough for him though. We have Lee Sin, yes, can do decent in the early stages of the game, but still struggles up against the Elise, who just provides that little bit more CC. And when we've got control of the mid lane for the Pantheon on Scout, he'll be able to roam first, he'll be able to answer any of those early skirmishes, and the tower dive potential offered from Pantheon and Elise is second to none. You've got the invulnerability from the Pantheon, a repel from the Elise that offers invulnerability, and they can do whatever the hell they want underneath that turret.
Elise versus Lee Sin in that jungle matchup. Both the junglers have been instrumental in this series now with early game picks on both sides of the board. We'll see who can get the advantages and force their way towards a victory here on Summoner's Rift. All right, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to start talking. I don't know if the chants are just not happening.
Wait, no? I've been baited too many times. I don't like this. No?
I'm just going to presume that that's not happening this time there. We're silent for, I think, a full minute there almost. Yeah. So I'm just going to move on with my life at this point. Let's talk about the compositions here. Top and EDG, both with kind of different styles to what we've seen in both of the previous games so far today. We've got Knight on the Victor along with Karsa's Lee Sin up against Scout's Pantheon with GAGA's Elise. Who's going to have the advantage in this early 2v2?
It is 110% going to be EDG. There is no question about that. Knight does not have the power to keep himself safe here at the moment. Victor, not very quick, no escapes apart from his flash and that cleanse, and Scout will be able to push him pretty effectively. I wouldn't be surprised to see JJ even look for a gank straight off the back off of this first clear. You see, has made his way over towards the blue buff, clear that, take the Gromp, and just go towards mid. Scout would have hit that level 2 where you'll have access to the point and click stun, and you can burn a flash off of Knight straight away in that scenario, and Karsa can't really do anything about it.
Interesting to see the Conqueror coming out from GAGA on the Elise. You do quite often see the Electrocute, deciding who wants a bit more sustained damage instead of the burst.
I don't think unless it's something new that I'm not aware of, I don't think I've ever seen Elise go with this. It might have been a leftover from the last game where he hasn't changed the runes, but I'm open to be proven wrong. Maybe it's something that I haven't heard of, but here's that play that we were talking about.
See if they can force the flash out of Knight. Not just yet. Holding his flash, deciding to use the cleanse first.
But look at where Nautilus is. Mako has roamed up to get control of this lane. Now they're looking to try and get in behind them. And a great freeze comes in for Scout. You have to overextend now as Knight. This is the problem with going for this lane.
Castle going to be heading on up, as is Chocho. They know that Knight's going to be in trouble here on the Victor. They know he's going to need a little bit of help from his friends. Knight just going to be trying to force this under the tower so that the lane will reset, but Scout is not going to let that happen.
And now you've opened it up perfectly for JJ to get this repeat gank. You see Karsa's hovering around, but Knight's very wary of what can happen and is going to back it up for the moment.
We are going to see the Unsealed Spellbook on multiple players this game from the side of Top Esports. Obviously, we're seeing it on the Ornn, very standard on the Ornn, but also going to be seeing it in the mid lane from Knight on the Victor. He had it on the Orianna last game as well. Definitely a keystone that he's happy to run with.
And I think he's just trying to keep himself as safe as possible. Start to swap over, you know, have the cleanse for the laning phase. Then if you need to answer for Scout, have the teleport there to drift off into a side lane and keep that pushed in. It's having that protection once again for everywhere that Scout wants to be.
369 giving Jinyu a hard time in this early game on the Ornn. He is down in CS still, but when it comes to the trades, he's winning out. The thing is, you're against Vladimir. Even if you're doing well in the trades, Vladimir is going to be able to sustain through it. So long as he doesn't fall too low, doesn't get all in, he's going to be fine.
It's the mana that's the big problem for 369, because you can get Vladimir, as you said, very low, but unless you can kill him, that mana is going to run out a lot faster than the health bar on the Vladimir. Wouldn't be surprised to see Karsa make his way up here. That could be the big game changer here. Oh, pool already burnt. Maybe Karsa can get in now.
Jinyu using his pool pretty early here. I don't know if Karsa's going to stick around for this one. Channeling the recall.
Watch where JJ is as well, trying to keep both mid and top safe. Jinyu will spot out Karsa now, though.
Karsa wanted it so bad. He stuck around for so long there, but Jinyu playing it safe enough to not be in any real danger. The charge missed. The knock-up missed there from 369. Jinyu needs to thank his lucky stars right there.
I was keeping an eye on the mini-map because I could see JJ making their way up towards the top lane. Had got spotted by the Victor in the mid lane, but Knight wasn't able to try and answer for any of the pressure that was coming out from EDG. Now he's going to be spotted. Ping, ping, ping is coming in. They want to get Scout with the flash engage on tonight, but Karsa's here.
Yeah, Knight still has his flash, remember, but also Cleanse not too far away from coming off of cooldown right here. Karsa going to find Mako down in the river, but Aftershock is going to keep him healthy. Now over towards the bottom side of the map as Dragon is available. JJ going to be heading up towards the top side.
They need to juggle this with Pool and Repel. Jinyu should start this one off.
He's going to start it off. Backs away out of aggro. Dodges away from Call of the Forge God. And that's going to be enough for them to back away from the dive. They're not willing to take that one. Karsa happy to trade it for a Drake.
Yeah, why wouldn't you be? You've given over absolutely nothing in the top lane apart from that ultimate. You can still back away and teleport in relative safety because you know that Jinyu doesn't have the Hemo Plague to try and burst you out. Top Esports, pick up a Dragon for free.
Yeah, fantastic stuff coming out. Well played by Karsa to realize that JJ is going to be going up towards the top side, and 369 happy to soak that gank. Doesn't even have to use a summoner spell. And Top Esports get themselves a free Drake. No answer whatsoever from EDG.
We are starting to see this mid lane matchup skew over towards EDG. Knight having to play so far back is ceding control and a couple of minions over to Scout, who's going to now have access to the man drop, looking to get access to the rest of the map. So have JJ throw a gank towards mid, put some manners onto Knight to force him underneath the turret, and you can then have Scout roll.
It has to be said, our matchup to watch coming into this series was Knight versus Scout. Both of these guys, prolific mid laners. They are known for making plays. They are known for winning games. But the matchup itself hasn't really been about who can win the 1v1. It's about how they can impact the rest of the map. Who can win out once you get to the skirmishes and the team fights later on in the game.
That's the way these teams have always played, though. It has been Knight getting the advantages. When it was on his Zoe, getting down towards the bottom lane with these crazy triple bubbles through walls that you never thought possible to pick up kills for Photic and for Chocho in the bottom lane. Or Loken back in the day when it was him in the bottom lane at the end of summer. Now, though, has been kept relatively quiet thanks to Scout's more aggressive champion pools and with the amount of pressure JJ has put down onto the map. This guy has been very impressive, and also don't forget another player that is coming up from the LDL, used to play on EDG's academy team, and showing that there's a lot of talent that is sitting on those academy rosters.
Certainly is, and we've seen a lot of that LDL talent coming on into the LPL this year. There's a lot of names that I'm very curious to see what the future holds for them, and two of them are in this game, Hope and Photic, both promoted from the LDL, both coming from the academy versions of these two teams.
And that's what I love to see on EDG, is you still have that combination of the old and the new. You've got the likes of Scout who's there, Mako's been there for nigh on 5 years, Clearlove leading the helm, showing the new guys the ropes, and it's this wealth and depth of knowledge that they have picked up over years of playing in a competitive setting that they can now pass on to Hope, to these guys that are coming in. And now we're looking at the top lane.
Here we go, kick onto Jinnu, does not have the pull available, and the damage will be there. Karsa claims first blood on Lee Sin.
This is top esports trying to slow down Jinnu, force him out of lane so this ticking time bomb in the Vladimir won't get there as early as EDG would like. They're buying time for Knight in the mid lane to pick up his items and get control of the map where they can force these team fights in a 5v5 scenario.
This Elise Pantheon duo has been so much quieter than I thought it was going to be. We saw the level 2 gank onto Knight. Didn't work out. I was not expecting that to be GAG just giving up on the lane entirely. We've seen no movement towards the mid lane since.
And I don't think that's JJ's fault. I think that's more Knight who's going, I will give up all this CS. I do not care. Now has a good freeze in front of his turret as well. It doesn't give an opportunity for Scout and JJ to go for something, especially when they haven't got control of the enemy jungle. What I need to see is Scout get out of this lane and down to influence the rest of the map. We talked about how potent the turret dive can be with Scout and with JJ. Now we need to see it happen.
Karsa reading JJ like a book. He knows he's down on the bottom side of the map, takes the Herald away. Exact same situation as with the Dragon earlier on in the game, and in plenty of time for the second Dragon respawn. There's still 40 seconds, 30 seconds until that'll hit the Rift. GAG are going to be able to recall before that one, and Karsa will do the same.
And this is what you're capable of doing when you do have an AD carry like the Varus, like we were seeing with Zaya, these people who can wave clear super effectively, the Misfortune as well. You allow Chocho and your support to roam around the map and start to make plays in mid, work towards that Rift Herald when it's up without completely losing control of the map. You still have your AD carry farming up, getting that solo experience, which is so crucial for AD carries now, and making plays around the Dragon.
Dragon spawning now, but when you look at the minimap, vision control is totally in favor of EDG. It's going to be difficult for Karsa to just walk into this river uncontested. He's going to need the help of Chocho here to make sure that he's safe to walk in.
This is still very dangerous for top esports. EDG have so much pick potential and a massively long CC train in JJ, Scout and Mako. They have to make sure that they play this one and approach this Dragon correctly.
This is bold to just start the Dragon up straight away from top, but they're happy to begin the fight this way. They're saying to EDG, look, we're going to call your bluff.
Keep your eyes on 369 though, has swapped to the Ghost, wants to try and get involved if EDG decide to fight, but they will not. They'll back away, but I don't know if this is really the calls they want to make. As we said, JJ and Scout want to get these early plays going. Otherwise, Photic and Knight are going to start to become too much of a hassle for them to deal with.
There's something really satisfying about having Unsealed Spellbook and being able to use Ghost to get back on into lane. 369 going to be able to swap back to the teleport now. And will be able to defend his tower. Actually, just about keeping that tower plate alive as well. But another objective going the way of top Esports. Gold-wise, we're still just about even. No towers have been taken on either side, but 2 Drakes and a Herald going the way of Karsa. Has that Herald in his inventory. We'll have to see where that's going to be placed.
We have had a handful of turret plates go over to the side of EDG, but not enough to really be recognized. Gold is dead on even at the moment, although Scout will pick up a little bit there for himself. I'm not convinced by Scout being in this bottom lane, though. We already said, look, we can try and make these super aggressive plays on the dives. You've got the repel and that invulnerability with the Aegis on Scout, but we haven't seen it happen. Now it's top Esports making the plays.
Mako will be the target, but Dredgeline pulls him to safety. And that is the power of that Nautilus pick. This is one of the reasons he's so high priority.
But it does give the opportunity for EDG to sort out these side lanes. You can see the push coming in from the Vladimir. Pantheon is pushing in the bottom lane as well. But if they're going to keep members there, top Esports go, we need to cover for something here. Get this charge off in the Rift Herald before the 14-minute mark.
Nobody in range to get those plates, though. The gold is not taken by top Esports. So they get some damage down on the mid lane tower, but it will not be transitioned into a gold lead. So not the greatest Rift Herald from them, but at least able to do a bit of damage.
And now we will see the farm game continue, because neither of these teams really want to move an inch. It is game 3, but it's only the first week. You can make a few risks here and there. Come on.
Well, you say that. When we look at these two teams, they're both vying for the top of the scoreboard. These guys are vying to be one of, if not the top team in the league. And when you're against another of those top teams, let's bear in mind this is single round robin. You only get one opportunity to take this win. So it's actually very important that these guys do not throw anything away, do not give an inch, especially when a couple of these games, in fact, both of these games have been blown wide open over a single fight.
And that's why we have to look at teams like FPX, who are sitting down the bottom of the table. Lost the game to IG. Now we're looking at top Esports, who we'd consider another top of the table contender, potentially dropping a game here to EDG. The only ones that we came into the week having full confidence in, who've shown that we were right with them, is BLG. Lot of questions in the offseason now being raised, particularly in week 1. Now, a long road ahead of us, don't get me wrong, but definitely not the start that we're expecting for some of these teams.
Looks like top Esports posturing towards this bottom lane right now. Photic going to be able to shove that minion wave in, but with Karsa heading on down, they could pressure that bottom lane tower, but looks like they've decided against it in the end. Going to be heading up towards mid. A lot of pings from both teams here. We could have a fight on our hands.
Get him. Do it. Do something. Chocho.
Chocho going to be caught on up. Teleport channeled. Mako has to use the stopwatch very early in this one. Pool coming out from Jinyu as Chocho just about gets away with his life. Flashes out to safety now as Karsa going to be the first one to go down. Pulled on in, but it's traded by the likes of the Victor from Knight. It's a 1-for-1. Make that 2-for-1 as the snipe comes through from Photic.
That is just cheating, EDG. Chocho should have gone down. Not only had the Grey help, but the stopwatch as well to keep himself alive. And top Esports are able to find the turnaround just about there to keep themselves in the lead. 45 seconds now on this Cloud Drake. A lot of ultimates burned in that engagement. So most will be back up for this. We'll have to keep an eye on the flashes that were burned in that fight.
That was kind of a weird fight as well, because there was no real objective that was being fought over here. Let's take another look at the replay.
Yeah, you can see Chocho is the one that tanks the hook, tanks everything else that's coming in. The big factor here is that Hope is running around with the Calibrum and the Infernum. A lot of AoE damage to start things off, then gets the Chakrams for when anything gets up close and personal. So perfect weapons for Hope in this fight. And it meant that, yeah, there we go. Despite that though, top Esports were getting the turnaround damage. Big damage coming in from Knight, who's fully completed the Hextech augment. And maybe looking for a bit more on Mako here.
Oh, Knight is really starting to dish out that damage. Does have the Lost Chapter as well, so he can afford to throw the spells out a little bit more regularly. But Karsa, once again, straight on the objective here. He's looking for this Cloud Drake. And that is going to be actually pretty massive for this team when you consider the ultimates available. Ornn, Call of the Forge God, such an impactful ultimate. Chaos Storm from Knight as well. And the Chains of Corruption from Varus.
And you'd imagine that these shouldn't be objectives that are going over so easily to top esports. Scout is down in that bottom lane. We were expecting to see much more come out from the ultimate of the Pantheon and utilizing that to jump across the map and give you man advantages, but it hasn't been the case. I haven't seen Knight swap away from this cleanse the entirety of the game because he's had no reason to. The pressure has not been there from EDG, and this early game play that they've gone for with the Pantheon and the Elise hasn't worked out for them.
Certainly hasn't. Second Herald will be picked up by EDG. This is going to be their first objective of the game now taken up. And we'll see what JJ is going to be able to do with that one, as neither team has taken a tower just yet. We're 18 minutes into the game and nobody has touched a tower. Over the next couple of minutes, I'd expect a few to be taken. That is going to be a nice little ward, though, coming out from Chocho. Does spot the potential dive.
Now Knight does have to be careful, though, because that roaming death squad of JJ, Scout, and Hope are starting to move towards the mid. They're trying to get as many as they can.
There's Starfall comes on in. Scout going underneath the tower, but Aegis Assault will keep him alive. Knight walks away with Cleanse.
Will instantly throw down this Rift Herald, though. They want to try and make the most out of this play. EDG trying to put the gas down, get this game accelerated in their favor. They know they're on a timer.
It feels like things are really starting to speed up now. It feels like the teams have decided they've got enough items. It's time to start to skirmish in towards this mid lane.
The problem is, despite that Scout having the ultimate to close the gap very quickly and move from lane to lane, top esports were able to get themselves in. Now they want to fight.
369 finds JJ, but that's all he's going to find. Nothing more to come of that one. And everyone just calm down, return to your lanes. It's time to go back to farming.
When did LPL become Farming Simulator? Like, this is 3-1. We're at 20 minutes into the game. We're 1-1 for the RNG and BLG game at some ridiculous number as well.
To be fair, though, it is good to see more of the macro focus coming out from these teams, because that has been one of the criticisms that sometimes comes when it comes to the World Championship. A lot of people, oh, here we go, Cocoon down onto 369. He's very tanky, but so is Jinu. Once he gets the transfusion off 369, I don't think he can walk away from this one. Jinu gifted the kill there on the Vladimir.
Top esports weren't in a position to try and make anything happen either. Yes, Baron has just spawned, but with it only being the 20-minute mark, there's no hope for them to turn onto that objective. They hadn't got the push in the mid lane. Top lane was fully pushed in underneath the tower as well, thanks to Scout. So free kill picked up for EDG.
One towards this top lane turret as well. But they're not actually going to be able to trade this one. Nobody actually coming to answer, and I think Photic has realized that he is going to stick around in the end.
They weren't certain on where the wards were. You have to be careful of the double TP. Scout and Jinu coming up.
Knight is in a heap of trouble right here. Everybody positioning around this mid lane. Has the flash and heal available. Will not have cleanse this time, though, very importantly. And it looks like Scout wants to go in. Mako trying to find this. The turret's still surviving.
There's no wave there. Unfortunately, EDG couldn't quite make that work for them. It is going to be the top lane turret going down thanks to the work of Photic. Now they're able to join up in this mid lane. So slowly but surely, towers are starting to fall, although it is emphasis on the slowly for this one.
Yeah, we're 21 minutes into the game. We had a couple of minutes of action there, but things have slowed right down once again. But 1 minute until this Cloud Drake spawns. Top Esports have 3 Drakes in their inventory already. You have to expect EDG have to contest this 4th Drake, surely.
369 still doesn't have his boots.
Classic 369, that.
Yeah. Same with, actually, for Karsa. I mean, it's a little bit okay for him. He does have the ward hop and stuff to get away, but I feel like it's 369. If you're waddling your way down to these fights, you'd want to have the boots to help that one out.
Yeah, I think also, though, as Ornn, you're very safe in your lane. Like, the odds of you getting solo killed are so low that it's like, do I really need Merc Treads yet? I can go for those later. I can figure that out later on.
I mean, especially when you can swap to what was Barrier in that bottom lane play and the Exhaust now as well, you're not really going to be in too much trouble.
But also, you want to get to these tier 3 items because you get so much value out of being able to upgrade 100%. Them immediately.
Yeah, I mean, you can see them there. Now that he's hit that level 13, can start to give that across to Photic as well.
Here we go, Dragon spawning in 5 seconds time. Top positioning to contest for this one. EDG have priority right now. They're the ones in position. And you can see Scout waiting in the mid lane, looking for the Grand Starfall. He wants to find his way in.
Jinu's behind enemy lines as well. Could look for the flash over the wall with the big Hemo Plague. Scout, though, looking to try and force them back, find the flank.
This will be a game-deciding fight if it's a convincing win on either side. EDG looking to stall things out, but Top Esports, they want this Dragon Soul for themselves. 4,000 on the Dragon right now, but I'm expecting that to continue to reset over and over again. Oh, good catch onto Jinu. That is a huge amount of damage, and it's going to get them the Dragon Soul. Now onto Mako, onto the backline. The Chaos Storm ripping through health bars as Karsa forces GA away. In the meantime, Mako trying to get collapsed on by Knight, but he just doesn't have the move speed. Jinu gets a bit of healing. Moonlight Vigil goes shy, and in comes the Starfall. In comes Scout, but he just doesn't have the damage yet. A kill for Knight onto the board as the rest of EDG run to the hills. Oh, Karsa wanted it, but he can't quite go for the play just yet. Dragon's Rage is on cooldown. Jinu pulls away, and Top Esports get the objective.
Just about get the objective. The problem was that that fight was consistently moving away from Scout. Spent so long trying to chase it to get the Grand Starfall in that his impact in that fight was completely negligible. Top Esports find the team fight win, find the Dragon Soul, and now you can see the pings going down onto that Baron as well.
2-4 on the scoreboard, 24 minutes on the clock, but 4 Dragons in the pocket of Top. They finally get a major objective.
And they can fight straight away when they get here as well, because they've got that 20% cooldown reduction. They can throw these ultimates out straight away and find the victory again. Karsa does find Mako, but not following him over the wall.
Mako actually starting the Baron off with a Riptide there. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or not. And now in towards this mid lane. And let's bear in mind these carries are starting to come online. Photic has the 2 items. Knight as well, starting to really pack a punch.
No Grand Starfall available for Scout, so the big ultimate that can deliver you into the backline is not available. Top Esports are trying to draw EDG in before that ult is back up and available, but waves are not in their favor. Top lane will be pushed out by Scout. You can see 369 is going down to the bottom lane to make sure that one's in check as well. The big thing here for 369 though is with the 2 summoner spells he's chosen, he can't get rid of them to get his teleport back. He's stuck on the bottom side of the map right now, so if EDG find the pick, there'll be no Ornn to join.
It's interesting that the win rate right now, 66% in favor of Top Esports. That's with a Dragon Soul. I think that says a lot about the Cloud Soul, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it has the opportunity to swing if you can find the right moment to jump, but at this level, teams are finding it difficult to find that moment.
Oh, the damage onto Hope! Knight wants a solo kill. Karsa does get an assist. He managed to get a shield out. Mako's next. Knight is on a rampage right now. Ignite goes down as well. Knight's not done. Trying to follow the kill. Won't quite find it, but that is massive to find the AD carry.
And we've seen how much these quick picks in a lane can turn a game. Now Top Esports can turn towards the Baron. They finally, after such a long stall out, find the moment to get the big objective.
And we've been talking about Hope and Photic, the new kids on the block. And Hope, I know you're new around here, but you gotta respect the all-in from Knight. He's always willing to go for it, and he has the damage on this Victor. Now onto GAJ. We've got the Grand Starfall coming on in as EDG trying to contest, but Karsa gets the objective. Knight gets a kill on JJ. Mako trying to punish him, and he will trade the kill in the end. But now the rest of the team is arriving. Mako pulls himself to safety, but not for long. Finally goes down. Scout wants a pick, but it's just not going to happen.
I think it would have been a brave man to go in 1 versus 4 there. Yeah, you had Hope on the side, but not going to be able to take down what is looking like a very healthy Top Esports. 369 sitting on the wings. Might catch out Hope here.
I don't know if he can actually kill Hope, though. I don't know how much damage 369 realistically has.
Ornn does hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, over the wall, though. I mean, if Hope is face-checking that bush alone at this stage in the game, no offense, Hope, he would need to be benched at that point. That is a face check that is not forgivable at this stage. Here we go. Inhib goes down. And for the 3rd game running between these 2 teams, we watch one team slowly but surely build an advantage and the other keel over and die.
And It's not even feeling like Death of a Thousand Cuts. It's just this slow,
Death of
painful
lethargy.
bleed. Yeah.
Lethargy? Lethargy? I don't know.
Lethargy, right?
Something
Whatever,
like,
we get
something
it.
like that.
Yeah. Words are tough.
Tiredness.
Definitely feeling
relatable
that after
right
this
now.
game. Yeah.
6th game on the trot. Here we go, though. The replay of that fight. Knight doing some serious work just to keep the jungler away.
Oh my god, we've got the high-octane alcove plays coming in with nobody in the top lane for them to make the play around.
I love it. I mean, you know, it's not that great, but at least there was an attempt. You get a silver star for that one, guys.
It's cool. We can put 2 members on the top side of the map with only a minute till Elder Drake. That sounds like a fantastic way to bring back this game.
I mean, if 369 does happen to try and force that, you know, we don't know if his teleport's available. I'm pretty sure it's off cooldown right now, because it's been a while since he used it, I think.
It's been a good while now at this stage.
Like, it wouldn't be too unreasonable to expect him to go up towards the top side of the map, try and split push and then teleport for the Elder Drake. I can see the logic at least.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about having your jungler up towards that side, though, because I think either way, Top Esports could just have made the play. But they're just looking for these towers instead. Use the end of that Baron buff before they back away for the Elder. Jinnu is off to the side, but no real way of getting in on the flank.
Straight onto another inhibitor tower here, and very little available contest from EDG. Huge damage is available from Knight if it can connect those abilities. And another tower falls.
And unfortunately, they don't really have an answer on EDG's side to deal with Top Esports on this push. The poke is too much. Here comes the engage.
All of the Forge God dodged away by the pool from Jinnu. But it opens them up for this inhibitor. Another objective down. And no contest once again from EDG. Now onto the Elder Drake. We've got to see something out of the likes of Edward Gaming.
That's not it, Chief.
That is not it. He's going to come down again, and GAJ does flash away to safety, but the rest of his team may be hung out to dry right here. In comes Scout, though, and that's massive damage across the likes of Top Esports. Maybe they can turn this one around. Scout goes into the stopwatch. Bit of damage turned back. 1 kill for nothing here. 369 went down.
But look at the ultimates that are on Top Esports. Because you've got that cooldown reduction from the Cloud Drake, you've got Call of the Forge God coming back up in just a few moments. Photic about 3/4 of the way done. And you've got double teleport. They can still contest this dragon.
I don't know if you want to fight for this one right now. Karsa might have found himself in a bad spot. They're not going to chase for the kill,
Ping
though.
is in the base. The pings are going down. They might just go for the end.
They could just try and force the end. Teleports available for both Photic and 369. Karsa goes in to try and get steal. Kicks out GAJ. Can he get the smite? It's actually going to be Knight. He gets a double kill on top of it. He runs through the game. Knight is on the scene, and the series is over.
And at 30 minutes into the game, Top Esports find the fight, they find the steal, they find Mako, and they will pick up their 2nd win of the LPL.
I mean, it was a slow burner, but Top Esports managed to finish things off in the end. They get the Elder Drake, and now on to the Nexus. 2-1 against EDG. Both of these teams with massive reputations, and Top get their... Esports managed to get 2 games on the trot there and finish this series out strong. I'm impressed especially by Knight on the Victor here. I wasn't really expecting the Victor pick necessarily to come through, which showed the power of that mid lane mage.
Victor is a very strong mage. The problem is he's very punishable as well. I felt like that was more of a mistake on the EDG style, not punishing Knight, but due, our credit where credit is due, Knight, once he did hit that late game stage, was picking off Hope, getting the picks that top esports need, and that's where you're looking at that goal graph. The difference comes in that one pick to set up the Baron.
And once again, I've got to bring into question the focus on Aphelios. Once again, another game where he just felt invisible. It didn't feel like he was dishing out that much damage in the team fights. Didn't feel anywhere near as impactful as the Varus on the other side. The win rate is continuing to tank on down for Aphelios.
And I think that teams are starting to realize that, okay, what we really want is an AD carry that has decent wave clear in the bottom lane to enable our support to start roaming. 2 factors for that. One, it gives you the AD carry picking up some of that much needed solo experience, so they start to gain that level lead. But it also means you can make plays around mid lane, make plays around the Rift Herald, and teams are slowly waking up to how much power this Rift Herald actually has.
Now, we have to kind of, in conclusion to this series, we were coming into this one saying, you know, Karsa and Knight could be the best mid-jungle duo of all time. We need to hold the horses on that one for a little bit. There's definitely a lot to be proven between these 2 guys. They did have some pretty strong performances, especially game 2 and 3, obviously managing to get the wins, but it was not the domination that we were necessarily expecting out of these 2 in the mid-jungle.
And I think that's fair. It was much more of an individual prowess coming out from both of these guys. We didn't see Karsa putting a huge amount of resources into Knight. Actually see him gank more up towards 369 in the top lane to try and shut down Jinnu.
Yeah.
It'd be curious to see if they do start to mix things up, though. I think that's where, when XX was on the roster, played very heavily to getting those ganks in the mid lane. If Karsa's not going to play that style, maybe we do just rely on the solo, more individual lane dominance of Knight to provide something for top esports, and Karsa can just roam around the rest of the map and sort out those side lanes.
We'll have to see what the side lane prowess is going to look like in the future games for these 2 teams. And ultimately, I think top, they're going to go home happy with this one. Let's bear in mind, that was the last game before Chinese New Year. They've got a couple of weeks off now. Well, probably not off. They're probably going to have to be working away in the background. But ultimately, they can be happy that they've got that second win on the board. Undefeated now, moving on towards Chinese New Year. EDG, on the other hand, they're going to be in the middle of the table, 1-1 as they finish out the start of the split, the first week. And it means that we're going to have a bit of a break as well. But don't forget, we will be back on the 5th of February. That is when the LPL will return to your screens. So we've got a bit of a break, but we will be back.
Yeah, we will be back bright and bushy-tailed to see exactly what these teams have brought in. More than likely on a new patch as well, so maybe we'll see a little bit of a mix-up coming in. I'm excited to see what the teams have brought out, because I know at least 10.2 have some serious changes coming in, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the teams adapt to that through the split.
I just hope the game speeds up a little bit. Not going to lie.
Just a smidge. Please.
I like macro, but I'm a play-by-play. I want to see fights. I came to China, I came to the LPL because I wanted bloodbaths. It's not really been what we've been seeing so far, but we'll have to see how the meta is going to develop across the course of this split, and I'm curious to see what the teams will do in response to that as well, because, you know, across the course of this split, we could see some teams really challenged in terms of the styles that they like to play.
Well, we've already seen that, at least from top today, much more focused around that map play, getting the dragons, the Rift Heralds, not focused so much on the roaming. I think EDG, we actually saw them play incredibly well to how the turret plates could actually be a big win condition for some of these teams. And you are looking at teams starting to figure this out, but it'll take a few more weeks until they've really nailed down those fundamentals. Yeah,
I mean, a great example of the stylistic issues across the course of today has been DMO earlier on.
True. When
they were playing the kind of sword and shield style composition where they had the Aphelios hard carrying Zillion in the mid lane supporting him. The whole team playing around the carry looked great. As soon as those picks were starting to get banned away, though, everything fell apart a little bit for DMO. So I'm curious to see how much more of that kind of stylistic play and nuanced play that we see out of the rest of the teams.
And that's the thing, is that each of these will have their own pros and cons. I mean, if you're playing very heavily around the bot lane, well, maybe you start to fall off in the top, and that's where you can start to get your advantages, looking more towards a Rift Herald. If you start to go and fall behind on bot side, well, now this Dragon Soul becomes a major issue for you. It is giving a lot more power across the map, and that's why we are seeing at least teams focus on a little bit more lane dominant picks. That's why Renekton's starting to rise up. We're seeing picks that can push effectively in the bottom lane, so then you're creating that power struggle of, okay, we can have our bottom lane roam first. It's making things a lot more interesting in that regard.